Hello everyone, it is Sansa Ray back with another inspirational video, and today I want to talk about self-care. But I'm not talking about the ladies today, I am talking about our men. Self-care for our men. So, ladies, if you got a man, send him on a spa day. Send him on a day where he can enjoy himself. You know, our men, they work hard, they take care of the family. Let him book a weekend so he can go and enjoy himself and escape from all of the daily things that is going on, just being the, provider and the protector all the time for us, and then he's got to go out there and be his own provider and protector too. So, we got to make sure we take care of our men, make sure we compliment him, flirt with him, and tell him he's fine. And, always make sure we building our men up to make sure that he's okay. We're not the only ones who need all of that, ooey gooey gushy stuff. The men, they like compliments too. They like to feel like they that guy. You know what I'm saying? So always make sure that you're making sure that your man, a boyfriend, any man in your life, your father, your brother, your cousin, any men that are around you that are also helping to build you up, giving you that energy as well. You might get a text from, "What's up, cuz? What's up, my beautiful cousin?" or whatever, or your brother. He always come and make sure, hey sis, you got something to eat, on Friday night or whatever, if single lady or whatever. So make sure that we are giving our men the same attention that we want. We always want that attention, but we forget about our men sometimes. So we got to make sure that we praying for them and making sure that we are giving them the energy that they need to stay strong. Because if we build up our men in that way and pray for their strength and pray for their spirituality and their well-being, they'll knock down any obstacle, any wall that's standing in front of us. You know what I'm saying? So let's make sure that we are upholding them on the pedestal that they need to be on, so they can continue to be, the leader that they are in our lives. And for our single men, y'all need to take care of yourself. You don't need no woman to take care of you. You got to take care of yourself. You got to clean up your house. You got to keep yourself clean. You got to keep your hair cut, because we be watching. Even if you single, we be watching. See if you keep your hair cut and how you dress. Not just dressing up when you go out to the club. Dress nice for yourself every day. I'm not saying you got to put on a suit and tie, or even, just make sure your clothes ain't baggy and you ain't out here just looking bummy. Take care of yourself, clean up your house. And there's some men that don't even clean up when they finna have company. So y'all need to get that together. If you ain't cleaning up when you finna have company, then I know you ain't cleaning up when you home by yourself. So y'all need to get up on that and start cleaning up, for yourself, because if you got a cluttered house, a lot of times that means a cluttered brain. And it's just not a good look to be in no dirty house, for anybody. I understand that we all get busy sometimes and, we got things we got to do, but should none of us be living in no dirty house. But another thing is oh my God, the nails. I get back. The nails. Guys, boy, if y'all don't keep them nails clean, boy, then you better not dare touch me with no dirty nails. You want to hug me and touch me and your nails is all there. What are you doing? What have you been doing? Oh my God, I understand sometimes, on certain jobs, you might get oil in you're a mechanic or whatever kind of work you may do. Sometimes I understand that, your hands ain't always gonna be, immaculate, but you got to keep them nails clean. You got to keep them nails clean, buddy. But anyways, them shoes, you gotta keep them shoes together. Don't be walking around here with no shoes that's run over, hanging over to the side. There ain't no man supposed to be walking around here with no hanging over Crocs on. You know what I'm saying? It's okay, ain't nothing wrong with some sliders here and there. But yeah, make sure even if they Walmart tennis shoes, Family Dollar, whatever, just make sure they clean. Don't be walking around here with no dusty shoes on. But anyway, show yourself some respect so that when you are looking for a lady, it's gonna be automatic. Or if you already do got a lady, don't stop taking care of yourself because you got a lady. Just keep yourself up, because we like our men to look decent and smell good and look good too, because sometimes we be going all out to make sure we look good for our men. But yeah, it's very appreciated when a man takes care of himself and gets his hair cut, keeps his self clean, and especially a clean house, clean car, all those things. But moving on, guys, don't be no deadbeat daddy. Oh my God, don't be no deadbeat daddy, especially if you experienced it yourself. Come on now. If your daddy wasn't there for you, you know how it was. And I mean, some of the men, as they done got older, they don't care, and that's cool, but don't keep repeating the cycle. It's some men out there that won't even spend time with their kids. It ain't always about money. You ain't gotta have no whole lot of money just to spend time. Don't cost nothing. A kid is not gonna remember the Hot Wheels and the baby dolls and all of that you brought for them for their birthdays and Christmas. They remember the time you spent with them. And I don't care if you own drugs or you're an alcoholic or whatever. Being there is better than absence. A kid might grow up and be like, man, my daddy was on drugs, but I knew who he was. I knew who he was. I knew what he liked, what kind of man he was. I knew, because some people don't even know what their daddy looked like, because they only seen him twice in their life. But don't be no deadbeat. Spend some time with your kids. No drug, no drink should be an excuse for not being with your children. That goes for women too. There's some women out there that have left their kids with the daddy or the granny or whoever, but ain't no drugs or drink should be no excuse for not spending time. Everybody has time to spend with their children, and that it can be very detrimental to a child when they grow up and any one of their parents was absent. But take care of your kids, especially for your own legacy's sake. It's just leaving a respectful thought about you after you gone. You don't want that. My daddy wasn't there, and I don't know who he was, and my daddy wasn't nothing. And it's just you don't want to do that. You don't want to leave your child with that type of memory of you. So take care of your kids the best way you can, and spending time is the most valuable thing that you can do. And men, I just want to tell y'all, it is okay to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is good. I know a lot of men were taught that don't be crying and don't be showing emotions and all of that. But I feel like it's very important for a man to cry. I don't care if you want to do it in secret or if you want to do it in front of people, whatever. But I really feel like it is important for them to cry, because if not, it turns into build up trauma in the body. It turns into resentment. It turns into anger. It turns into a lot of evil things, if it's not dealt with. So I really feel like that men should cry more than they may admit. I don't know where that started out at or where it came from. To show strength means not to cry, but that don't make no sense. it's just not good. It's not good to hold in those emotions. And men, the men, y'all need to pray too. Pray for strength. Pray for protection. There's women out here, your mothers, your wives, your sisters. We pray for y'all, but y'all need to pray for yourselves too. Pray for your own protection. Pray for your own strength. Pray for your own spiritual growth so that you can stay connected with God in a way that's different from Granny praying for you. So stay prayed up and, show your vulnerability, and it's okay to show your emotions and talk to your woman and talk to your family about, what's going on with you. Don't hold that stuff in because, like I said again, it turns into trauma in the body. So it's not just about being strong. It's about, self-care. Like I said, self-care for men is important too. So spend time with yourself, so that you can speak to God and tell him what it is that you need and what you're looking for. You don't need to spend every weekend with old girl. You don't need to spend every Sunday with your family and friends. Spend time by yourself so that you can hear God and talk to him and have a relationship with him, and he'll strengthen you. He'll give you direction. He'll make you a stronger leader for your family. So make sure you stay prayed up. Get yourself some self-care. Clean yourself up. Spend time with your kids. And you can be a all-around better man if you take care of yourself. So men, self-care is important as well.